Welcome. Today we're going to take this idea of positive thinking and, pull it down from the clouds. We're going to turn it from a kind of vague, feel-good concept into a real practical skill, something you can actually train to change how you experience your world.
Okay, so let's dive right in. First things first, it's so important to get clear on what positive thinking is not. It's not about denying reality or pretending problems aren't there. Nope. And it's definitely not a quick fix for everything. Instead, I want you to think of positive thoughts as tools. Real tools that can change your experience. And the best part? They're practices that can be trained, just like learning an instrument or a sport.
So how can one little thought have such a huge impact? Well, to really get its power, we got to look at this chain reaction, this domino effect that turns something happening in your head into a real-world result. It's a pretty simple four-step chain.
And it all starts right here, with a single thought. Could be anything, really. An observation, a little judgment, an idea. But the key is that this one thought, when you play it on repeat in your mind, becomes the seed for everything else.
Now this is where it gets interesting. When you repeat that thought, it literally starts to carve a pathway in your brain, kind of like water flowing down a mountain, right? Over time, it creates a channel, and with enough repetition, that thought becomes a default mental habit. It becomes an automatic pattern.
And those patterns, they don't stay soft. They start to solidify. They harden into core beliefs. Those deep-down assumptions you have about yourself, about other people, about how the world works.
And here it is, the final link in the chain. Our beliefs become this invisible script that just automatically guides our behavior. They end up determining our actions, how we react, and the results we get.
So check this out. This slide lays it out so clearly. You can see two totally different paths here. Look at the top row. It starts with, I can learn from this mistake. That thought leads to a belief that mistakes are opportunities, which then leads to the action of asking for feedback. Now, compare that to the bottom. The thought is, nothing will change anyway. That hardens into a belief that change is pointless, and the action, you give up before you even start. It's the same person, just two different starting thoughts, leading to two completely different outcomes.
Okay, so this is the big question, right? How do we intentionally build that positive pathway? Well, the science of happiness actually gives us this fantastic framework. It's built on 4 key pillars that we can use to structure our mental training. The first pillar is all about our state of being. Let's call it plus being. It's really about consciously choosing our mental attitude in any situation. And this quote from Viktor Frankl just nails it. You cannot control external events, but you can always choose how to respond to them. That gap between what happens and how we respond, that's where our power is. Let's see how this actually works. On the left, imagine you get some negative feedback at work. Your automatic thought might be, I got everything wrong. But if you use plus being, you can reframe that to, okay, there's a specific point here I can improve. See that shift? Or on the right, in a conflict, instead of thinking, he always attacks me, the reframe is, you know what? We are both going through a stressful time. It changes the entire dynamic. Our second pillar is discipline. Because, training your brain takes consistent practice. This whole idea is built on the science of neuroplasticity, the fact that our brain isn't fixed in stone. It can change. It's malleable. We can literally train it through things like practicing gratitude or even just looking forward to good things, which scientists call positive anticipation. And that connects perfectly to pillar number 3, which we'll call plus positive chemistry. Why? Because our thoughts can actually change our body's chemistry. This pillar is all about recognizing that our mind and body are not separate things, they're one deeply connected system. So positive thinking isn't just about thinking nice thoughts, it's about making your body an ally of your mind.
And our final pillar is plus we. This is so important. It's a reminder that our thoughts don't just exist in a vacuum. Our own well-being is tied up with the people around us. You've probably felt this, and science backs it up. Emotions are contagious. The mental state you bring into a room absolutely affects everyone in it.
And this is a perfect example of that. Picture a really tense meeting. Everyone's on edge, the atmosphere is heavy. A leader who gets we might just ask everyone to share one small win from their week. It takes 2 minutes? But the effect is huge. The whole feeling in the room shifts. The tension eases, and suddenly collaboration is possible again. A tiny act changes the whole group dynamic.
All right, so we've got the theory down. But theory alone doesn't really get us anywhere, does it? The key here is that this is a skill you can actively train. So let's talk about how to build that mental muscle with 3 super simple daily exercises. First up, structured gratitude. Now this is way more than just, thinking a happy thought. The research shows this practice actually changes your brain. The exercise is really simple. Write a short letter to someone who's had a positive impact on you. You don't even have to send it. Just write it and then read it aloud to yourself. Studies show that one little act can give your well-being a major boost.
Second is something we'll call action-oriented mindfulness. The goal here isn't to empty your mind of all thoughts. It's more about watching your thoughts float by without getting carried away by them. So here's the exercise. Take 5 minutes in the morning. Just notice what thought is loudest in your head. Maybe it's anxiety about a meeting. Acknowledge it without judgment, and then consciously decide, is this thought serving me right now, or should I set it aside and pick a more useful focus?
And number 3, intentional physical movement. We all know that even a little bit of activity can improve our mood and memory. So here's the exercise, a walk for thinking. If you're stuck on a problem, just go for a 20-minute walk. And here's the key, leave your phone behind. Don't try to force a solution, just walk. You'll be amazed at the ideas that pop into your head when you get back. So we've gone over the principles, we've talked about the practices. Now let's really bring it home and see how these tools can be applied to some pretty common challenges we all run into, both at work and in our personal lives.
I mean, look how practical this gets. At work, let's say a project gets rejected. The automatic thought is, I failed. The reframe, I now have valuable information for the next proposal. In your personal life, maybe during a conflict, instead of saying, you always do this, which just makes people defensive, you switch to, I feel. It's these small shifts in language that have a massive impact on the outcome.
So at the end of the day, this isn't just some interesting theory to file away. It's a set of skills to be practiced. The single most important takeaway here is to take action. So the question isn't whether this works. The real question is, which one of these simple daily practices are you going to start today?